Okay.
I have
Hold
started the
on.
recording. I have started the
You've
recording.
started the recording. All right. Awesome.
Yes, yes. All right. So let's start with the session on voice modulation. Before we begin, I would like to say that we modulate our voice naturally. Sometimes when you walk into a store and you're placing your order, and in a very gentleman kind of a way, you say, "Excuse me, sir, can I have a tea?" And he doesn't listen to you. "Excuse me, sir, can I have a tea?" And he doesn't listen to you. "Bhaiya chai dena." When you say that, you get his attention amongst like 15 more people. You get their attention as well. But that's the whole point of being a speaker, to get the attention of your audience. In today's session, we will be looking at many tips. We will be looking at methods of using voice modulation as a tool of you as a speaker when you are preparing for a speech. How can you prepare to modulate your voice? What are some times where you are speaking naturally? We are speaking in a table topic. How do you use, rather, where do you use voice modulation over there? That's also a topic um, that we will be looking at. Now, before we proceed, I would like to ask all of you if you have any specific questions, expectations from this session that you want me to cover, so that I can include that in the agenda as we go, because it will then be a runtime agenda and something that I love. So, floor is open. Any questions, expectations that you may have regarding this? Okay, no questions. Okay, nice. That means you guys are completely blank, or you have come with a completely open mind, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me start sharing my screen. um, Now, in terms of the formula, rather the um, overall structure of today's session, it's going to be a part of practicals and demos and theories, and I'm going to need some volunteers to read out some of the things. And in the end, I'm going to have each of you read a story. Let me repeat, read a story, small story, so that we can practice, we can give each other some evaluation on how we did in terms of reading. Because in the end, while reading as well, that's the first level in which you can apply these techniques very easily. You can start listening to them in terms of when others are speaking and evaluate them.
You
So
want us to pick up a book or something?
yes, that will be great. If you have a book around, pick up a book, pick up any small paragraph. If you know a short story, even that will be perfect. So now I am going to start the session, and 1 second. Let me know when you can see my screen. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah, we can.
All right,
Yes.
fantastic. Okay. Now, as I said, we modulate our voice many a times, and one of the times we modulate our voice is when we watch a movie. Uh, when we watch a movie, how do we modulate over there is a bit of a mystery. You see, in all of our theaters, before the movie, there is something that happens, and I'm not talking about the cancer commercials.
The national anthem?
The national anthem, bingo. Now, in national anthem, as you start saying it, you modulate your voice so many times. You use different levels of voice. So, for example, in the end, when it is about to come to the closure, you say Jaya He, Jaya He, Jaya He, Jaya 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 He. You see, we have used different tones of voice, which is rising and then falling down, reducing it. How many of you have had goosebumps while singing our national anthem, either in whenever you or wherever you're singing it? Yeah, me too. Every
Every
time.
time.
Every time. So that is the effect that sound can have on body. So that is another vector in which we work. So, for example, right now I'm sitting here and talking to you. But if I had to use my full power of voice, ideally I should be standing up so that my lungs are expanded. I have full breathing space and I can use my body language as I'm speaking with you, and that would change my voice. You would also have seen those singers that when they are singing a happy song, they actually smile and they sing because the voice that comes out is different, as opposed to when they are sad and they are singing a sad song, they're actually having those emotions on their face and they are singing it. Only then is the voice coming in that tone. Now, there are many qualities of us as speakers. Now, some of you may have seen this before. Pleasant voice is when you are actually you meet your friend after a long time, and how you meet them is pleasant. Natural is what you're speaking when, like, there's nothing happening, you're not on stage, you're not doing a performance, or it's not a significant emotion such as happiness or sadness or excitement. Your natural tone. Forceful tone is when you have to speak with the last person in the room, and what pitch you have, how do you throw your voice. So we have different registers here in our throat. The higher register you use, the sound changes, and the lower register you use, the sound changes even more. So it's all up to how we use the knobs and the whistles that we have. You see, we have three different knobs when it comes to us as musical instruments or the voice instrument. Those three knobs are the three knobs are the volume, the pitch, and the rate. The volume is on on which word do you actually bring it up. So for that, I'm going to give a quote in the chat, and I need some of you. I need one volunteer to say it out loud. Okay, I've given the quote in the chat. Who's going to be the first volunteer? If you're raising your hand, I can't see it.
Probably I'll read it out.
Sure.
Just the natural one, is it?
The natural, yes.
The road to success is always under construction.
Yeah. Now, in this sentence, there are certain words which are more important than the others. Now, as we speak, we don't speak in words. We speak in thoughts. We speak in word groups, and as we group them together, that is one thought which is then conjuncted with another thought, and that forms an entire sentence. In this case, there are two parts of the sentence. So, Kavina, in the first part, the road to success, which word do you think is more important?
Success.
Okay. And in the second part, always under construction, which one do you think is more important?
Thinking between under and construction. Construction.
Okay. Okay. Now, in this case, in my opinion, always is a keyword, because you are showing the frequency. It's not sometimes, it is always under construction. So if you were to bring those two words up, let's say the road to success, and whenever there's a conjuncture, use a pause. For example, the word is actually a pause. So now use the sentence with the first part of the sentence going high with success, and the second part of the sentence with after the pause always, and then go to the construction. So let's try it again. Kavina.
Sorry. So success is high.
Success and always, bring them up.
Okay. The road to success is always under construction.
Okay, that's also one way of saying it. Yeah.
The road to success
is always under construction. Is always under construction. So that way we have identified two words and we have brought them up. You see this very commonly when people are doing their timer reports, where actually they use the monotone or single tone throughout the speaker 1 took 3 minutes, speaker 2 took 5 minutes, and speaker 3 took 7 minutes. In this case, none of the words are important because everything is in the same tone. Whereas if you pitch up the speaker name and the time, speaker 1 took 7 minutes, speaker 2 took 3 minutes, and speaker 3 took 1 minute. In this case, we could clearly make out the important parts were speakers and the time. So using just your voice, actually the volume, you are able to identify what are the important parts and how we can use them. I think JP, you were raising your hand earlier. Do you have a question?
No, I wanted to emphasize on what you were saying, that always and construction are the two words which are supposed to be emphasized.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes. So definitely. So in this case, there's one more thing. When you are saying these words, a lot of times there are certain words which are actually the conclusion of a sentence. For those words, you need to empty your diaphragm. For example, ma or bha. So these words, when you're saying it out loud, you're actually putting the air out of your lungs, and that tends to reduce the volume. So in this case, construction is the secret word. The road to success is always under construction. You're pushing the air out in the last sentence because you wanted to make sure that construction is the total volume for that actually goes down. So far, any questions? Are we going too technical?
Sounds perfect.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I'm going to get one more quote for screen sharing. Okay, I think there was a Zoom error message that just came in. So I haven't heard anything from Bhavna yet. What's up, Bhavna? Are you on the call?
Hi, Aniket. Yeah, I am on the call, but I am down with viral stuff.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
keeping
okay.
my coughs out
No,
for
no,
you
it's
guys,
all right, all
keeping
right.
myself mute.
No worries, no worries. Okay. I have one more quote, which is a really nice quote, which I had chosen earlier. I am going to share that with all of us, and then we are going to uh, practice on that quote. Yes. Sumit says same goes for me. Not able to talk. It's all right, Sumit. Thanks for joining, though. All right. We have the next quote as well. Now, the next dimension that we are going to look at is the rate at which we speak. Sometimes we have heard people speaking really fast, like super fast, and that indicates speed in a lot of situations. Now, when do you use this technique is purely when you're describing an incident that has happened. Let's say uh, you are trying to catch a bus, and as you were coming out of the gate, you saw that the bus is coming. Your heartbeats went up. You were happy, and as you rushed up towards the bus stop, the bus was actually speeding up. You tried to keep up with the bus, but it just kept going up. You had to run and run, but in the end you jumped and you caught the bus. And finally, for the first time that day, you tasted success. So in this case, first half of the sentence was all motion, second half of the sentence was emotion. Whenever there is motion, that is when you can use the pace and fast it up. Whenever there is emotion, whenever there is a message that you're trying to convey, that is when you can slow down. Imagine someone telling you the key message of their speech but talking really fast. You won't be able to understand, or at least that message will not stick to your mind. So as a speaker, we need to know when is the period in your entire script when you're delivering the message? That is the time where you need to be more still. The amount of movement that you will have on the stage should reduce. When you're telling your key message in the speech, have a same point, stand and deliver your message. The tempo or the speed at which you talk should come down, and then deliver your message. Now, in this case, as I said, there are two types of the things. In the quote that we are seeing, for the next example, I would like JP to volunteer, if that's okay with you, JP.
I'm good.
Okay, cool. So the
Alright.
code that we are seeing here, identify in your mind what are the what sections of this sentence should go up, should go down. The volume that we already spoke about in the last segment. Now look at what sections of this code should actually be faster and which one should be slower. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you want, take about 5 to 10 seconds, go through it once.
Yeah, I'm
Then
just
we
going
can-
through it.
Yeah.
All right. So if I were to read it out, it goes, experience is the only teacher we have. We may talk and reason all our lives, but we shall not understand a word of truth until we experience it ourselves.
Okay. I think you did okay. Second half of the sentence was good. First half of the sentence, I
In
think.
fact, word could have been emphasized a lot. All right. Yeah.
So in this case, there are three thoughts here. First sentence is the first thought. Experience is the only teacher we have.
Correct.
Second thought is the one where you rush. We may talk and reason all our lives, but we shall not understand a word of truth until we experience it ourselves.
Right.
So you use the voice there, you use the pitch there, and in the end, you slow down when there is a message. That you did perfectly. So I think kudos on that effort. It's a big quote, and we are going to go for much bigger quotes in the next example. So certainly kudos over there. Who just joined? Ashirbad is
So
here.
Aniket,
Yes.
Ashirwad just joined in.
Yeah.
Just wanted to add to the motion and emotion part of it. From what I have learned and observed,
Yeah.
there are times in a speech when you want to pace the audience's heartbeat.
Yes.
Typically, what happens when we pace up the speech,
Yeah.
the heartbeat of the audience increases, and that's when we create that excitement or that energy within the audience.
Absolutely.
So that's why typically we use that pace mechanism to increase that curiosity or the excitement within the audience's mind.
True. But also we should also we should also be conscious on when we want to do that. For example, in a situation where, like I said, when something is happening and you're describing it as you are there, or in this case, in the current code that we have, there is no motion here, but it's something which is happening over a period of time. We may talk
Exactly.
and all of our lives, so there is time involved there. So that's also an identifying mechanism. Hey Mahua, thanks for joining.
Yeah, Aniket, could you please explain once again that second line, we may talk and reason of our lives. So you are telling high very fast, right? So I didn't get like why we should tell it very fast. So could you please explain once more?
Okay, let me give an example. Why do we have lightning in the sky? Because there is a change in pressure between two clouds. There is one cloud which is really heavy, another cloud is which is not so heavy, it's really light. When there's a friction between the two clouds, when there's a huge difference in pressure. That is when, due to that friction, the energy comes out, and that is where we see the lightning. In a very similar situation, during our speeches as well, when we are speaking, when you have a huge amount of speaking or other when you have a high velocity of speaking, you're speaking really fast, and then you slow down, then there is a huge silence in between. And that's when the audience, if someone is on their phone and suddenly they see silence, what's happening? You get the attention back. You get that if they are focused towards you, then they are just eager to know what you're going to speak next. I think that is also where the practice of a speaker comes in, because after that pause, if you fumble, then that kind of gives away the play that you might not have prepared very well. So that pause is very important, and if you use that pause, no matter which stage you are on, if you are on the ECT stage, if you are on the division championship, or on the district finals, or in the international finals. Now, after the today's session, I want all of you to look at the speech of Dhananjay Hettiarachchi with these three knobs in your mind. When he speaks really fast, identify that. When he slows down, identify that he's giving a message over there. When he's talking and he's walking on the stage, that is when the motion is happening. When he's giving his message, he slows down. So a lot of times we see something and we learn. A lot of times we learn something and we observe it around us. So for this particular thing, I need you to observe it first. Once you have done observing, then you practice. The more you practice, then the lesser you have to think about it consciously. Oh, that I have to modulate my voice. Oh, I have to, oh, which word is important in this sentence. So the more practice you have, that will come to you automatically. Okay, now going back to the PPT. See, I used a sentence there. Going back to the PPT, you see that what was that? That was our typical Indian accent. We have a habit that we have been told to put the last word up. I'm going to tell you today what I have learned in the last 20 years. In these sentences, the important words were different. But by nature, we are always speaking where the last word comes to us, comes on the top. So we have to be a bit more conscious. And that's why when we are on the stage, I believe that we have to be more conscious on what and how we are speaking. Can you guys see my presentation? Unfortunately, I'm having some issues with Zoom today, so I'm not. You can see my session, PPT.
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
It's visible.
Okay, that was a wrong sentence by me as well when I said, "You can see my presentation." Which was not a question. Can you see my presentation is a question. So we have to be grammar Nazis to ourselves as well. So this is another sentence here. This is an even bigger quote. And for this, I need the third volunteer, because we are going to go into the third dimension now. So who is going to be the third volunteer for today? Okay, JP, I think you're on. All right, JP is having another go at a new quote. Now, the third dimension, as I said, while I'm saying you can identify the words, you can group them together. As I said, volume was the first. Volume was the first dimension we looked at. We also looked at the rate at which we talk. Now we'll look at the pitch. The pitch is when you're pronouncing the words, which part of the word are you going to go up or low? For example, the same word called as forget can be used in many different ways. I need you to forget what I said and listen to me now. So I emphasize more on the get part of it. So JP, I need you to look at this entire quote and give it a shot with what we have looked at so far. First, identify all the thoughts. There are different thoughts in this quote. Put them differently. Then try to club them and know and identify which words need to go up, which one need to go down. Where is the one where you need to get a huge silence? Now, let me say one more thing here. Silence is golden. Silence is golden because when you have Okay, there was another amazing quote by Mahatma Gandhi when he said, "Don't start speaking until you have mastered silence." And in that quote, what he means is that when do you really start speaking? So, in this sentence, there is one part where if you give the right pause and a huge amount of pause in between, then you're emphasizing what you're going to say next. And that's what really keeps us going. If you look at Modi ji's speeches, he takes a long pause many a times. But there are certain
Right.
times when he takes such an absurd amount of pause that you feel as if the video is paused or something. But then that keeps you hooked. Now you want to listen to what's coming next. So this is something that I want each of you. So let me see who all we have finally. We have Ashirbat, Sumit, Kavina, Bhavna, and JP. I need each of you, when you speak next, try and use that silence more. Try and use the pause, the long pause, in a way that you are able to emphasize the key message that you want to deliver here. So JP, you are on.
Right. I have learned that people will forget what you have said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel.
Yes, bang on. Now includes unlimited meeting. Okay, absolutely. Good job done there. There is one recommendation from me is after the first thought, which is I have learned, is the first word group. After that, there should be a pause. I have learned
Hmm.
that, and there is always a singer-song kind of a speaking where you will see that in songs there are things which are repeating. In this case, you can see people will forget is the repeating factor here.
Right.
People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. So in this case, people will forget is a repetitive thing. So if you are able to write a speech where during your key message, if you can repeat these kind of words again and again throughout your speech, sprinkle it out in a very conscious way, then your message will come out like a shining window here. Because in the end, people will remember how you made them feel. Actually, it's a quote, but actually that's what happens. In if you look at the
Right.
ISC, if you look at the ISC video as well of all the finalists, all of them were good because they have reached that stage. They have beaten up like hundreds of people, thousands of people to reach there. So no matter there is no doubt that their delivery will be good, but it is the message that is differentiating one speech from another. So in the end, it comes to delivering that one message, how you are able to deliver that and make sure that people remember that message. And that's why I think the speech that Aaron delivered in this year's ISC, it was memorable because it was a story. It was a story about a message where he is the protagonist, and now he's protecting the shoes, and then there are so many things happening. So while he was telling the story, you can observe the same thing. He was going really fast when they were pulling those shoes from him, and he was going very slow when that lady was trying to intimidate him. Aaron, you can do whatever you want, but you can never let go from here. So when she slowed down, actually you can feel your heartbeat as well because she was that intimidating. So he used the same principle that we just spoke about: speaking fast, speaking slow, going a bit higher, going a bit slower. Now, one thing I've learned in the last 3 years as a Toastmaster is you need to be a sponge. And today's session that you are listening, when you are doing your evaluations, you need to give this message in your evaluations. Observe the speaker and give them recommendations on how they can improve on the pace of their speech, how they can improve in the pitch and tone and the volume of their speech. Only then you are practicing it while looking at someone else and helping them improve. As an evaluator, that would also set you a notch apart from others, that you are able to observe things that others take for granted. When it comes to voice modulation in general, We have all seen those evaluators will say, your speech was good, but I think you can improve on voice modulation. That's a whole topic itself. How do you improve in voice modulation? You show it to them.
Example.
With examples, you write the specific sentences down, and then you show it to them on the stage how to deliver that. Just give me 1 second.
JP,
Yeah.
I have learnt. It's supposed to be learnt, right?
Uh,
I feel that way. I'm not sure. What do you think?
Unfortunately, both the words exist.
No, both the words exist, yes, but I have. It has to come. It should come with the.
I think
forgot.
both. I think both the words are right. Maybe depending on
Okay.
which
Interchangeably, you can use that.
True.
One question, Aniket.
Yeah.
So here in the first sentence, you told that there is a pause after that. Is it? No, you told
Learned.
there is a pause after learned.
Yes, because as I said, the principles remain the same. Whenever there is a conjecture between the two sentences, that is a conjecture here. What is a conjecture here? Right?
So before the conjecture, we have to give a pause.
Yes, you should. Don't say have to.
Agree.
Have to means every time.
I always give it after, like say, what what I have learned is, and then I give a pause.
No.
Or is it like what I've learned?
Pause. Is this.
What I've learned is number one, number two. But I think it's this. It sounds better this way, no? What I've learned is number one, number two, number three. I have learned that.
Yeah, go ahead.
1 minute. I've learned that people will forget. It's better is that way I felt.
But in that case, it will become, people will forget what you have said. People will forget what you have done. But in that case, see, the thing is, we are speaking in full thoughts. That is the principle. Okay. We are speaking in thoughts here. First thought is, I have learned that people will forget what you have said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. So, in this entire sentence, I've always been speaking one thought, second thought, third thought. If I have said, I have learned that, see, you can see the sentence is not complete. I have learned that what you have learned is not in that sentence. I have to wait for the next sentence to understand that. Correct? Right? Do you agree?
Yes.
Yeah. So whatever you say should make sense in that thought process itself.
Okay. One more doubt.
Yeah.
So this is this is a part of the speech that I delivered. If you remember the bumpy, right? So it went like very fast, and then I had to slow down.
Correct.
Let me just do that. You see if the pauses are right.
Sure.
My labor room typically looked like this. Contraction monitors stuck to the belly, nurses rushing in and out of the room, taking blood samples, and my doctor anxiously waiting to hold the baby. Amidst all of this, there was a person right next to me who kept constantly telling me, "Come on, Kavina, you can do it." Yeah. Perhaps, Toastmaster. Is this okay?
No, I feel that the pauses need to be adjusted a bit. When you say, I missed all of this, after that, you jumped onto the next thought. While all of this was happening, I missed all of this while,
a bit more elaborate pause, is it?
That's another thing. When you think you are actually giving a pause, you're giving a short pause. When you think you are giving an absurdly longer pause, that's when actually you are giving the right pause. So the amount of pause that you have in your mind and what you actually deliver is very different. would you be able to write that sentence down in the chat? We can actually practice the entire thing on that sentence as well, because it's pretty.
If I were just to add just one more point,
Sure.
in fact, it would have sounded beautiful if you could have emphasized a little bit on the all part of it. And when I say, you would have said, and amidst all of this, there was one person who said, Kavina, you can do it. You can do it. And that is all that mattered.
I disagree.
Why not?
Because the person, if he is in the labor room, he will not be this silent. Kavina, you can
Why
do
not?
it.
Because, no.
Can I
Yes, Bhavna.
say that?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I do agree to the fact that when you're in the labor room, you cannot talk like a motivational speaker there.
Yeah.
What JP just did. It has to be like, come on, Kavina, you can do it.
Yes.
You can or you cannot? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Guys,
You cannot do it.
You can.
Get out of the
Yeah,
labor
you can
room.
do it. But yeah, it has to have more energy to transmit to the other person. And
Yes.
that's what has to go in the speech as well.
the line that was there.
Yes.
Sumit, you're saying something. Go ahead, please.
Okay, just to clarify the thing, this sentence was there to produce humor in this. This has a twist at the end. And that's why none of these recommendations will actually go with the last sentence.
Okay.
Kavina, if you can read the entire line.
I just
climax.
chat.
Okay. Well, actually, if there is a twist, then without a pause, that twist is of no use. There has to be a long pause so that the twist has to actually emphasize because of the pause. As I said, friction, very important. There is one more thing that I keep saying in my evaluations and whenever I'm speaking about rather voice modulation as a topic, that your the way you speak should be in sync with what you speak. As JP said just now, Kavina, you can do it. If it was in an enclosed room where he is miles away on moon or something, then it is fine. But in this kind of a scenario where the energy is very high, then it has to be in sync with the speech. So you would often find this. Another tip for evaluations, where people say that I saw the pink slip that I got that day in office, and I was sad. I was sad throughout the day. So in this case, there is nowhere in the speech where the speaker actually expressed himself that he was sad on that day, because the pitch remained the same. There was no modulation of voice to reflect the emotion. So when you are writing a speech, I would recommend to highlight the portions where the emotional quotient is high. When there are lots of emotions going on, that's where you need more and more of this modulation. Okay, who wants to go at this except Kavina? Can we have Bhavna going at this?
Yeah, sure, I can do that.
Sure. Yeah.
My voice is very sexy today, so don't blame me if you fall in love with me. Okay, here I go. I've learned that people will forget. Oops, you've changed the code?
You might have to look at the chat, not the shared screen.
Okay. It's the same code that you want me to repeat, right?
No. You would need to click on participants if you see the screen on your phone.
I was on
Yes.
You need to click on participants and then go to chats. And on the chat window, you'll see Kavina has posted something.
Okay, see, this is the one that I'm supposed to speak
Correct.
out, right?
Yes.
I'll just go through that. Okay, I'll start. My labor room looked like this. IV with fluids. Contraction monitors stuck to my belly. nurses rushing in and out doing blood samples, cervical examinations, doctors anxiously waiting to hold the baby. Amidst all this, there was a person standing right next to me and kept telling me, "Come on, Kavina, you can do it." Perhaps a Toastmaster.
Good one. Good one. Good attempt, I would say. Um, See, when you started, Bhavna, you were good with the
Mhm,
thoughts. Initially, when you said my labor room looked like this, and you took a pause. IV with fluids, and that you took a pause again. That's another thought because comma was there. That's another tip that whenever you have commas, commas also mean pauses. Now, you took a pause between contraction and monitors, but actually, it is the same thought. Contraction monitors stuck to my belly. Now, in this
mhm,
entire sentence, whenever there is a pause here, actually, the voice should go higher because you're describing the whole room with intensity. Contraction monitors stuck to my belly, nurses rushing in and out during blood samples, cervical examinations, doctors anxiously waiting to hold the baby. And amidst all of this, there was a person standing right next to me and kept telling me, "Come on, Kavina, you can do it. You can do it." Perhaps a Toastmaster. So, probably, I would say just the breaking the sentence into thoughts and putting the right amount of pauses, uh, and then using the rate to put it either make it faster or slower. Those are all the things that we have to work on. Do you guys agree with me
right.
so far?
Yep.
Aniket,
Yeah.
I would like to try this once again. Let me see if I can give the right pause, please.
Sure, sure, sure. Go on.
All right.
How about
My
this? You,
neighbor,
I am sure you have your speech in front of you. So why don't you
yes,
write? So why don't you begin with the beginning of the speech, so that we get to hear new sentence with the same technique being used over there. In the meantime, I would request others to pick up one story, do a quick Google search on short stories, and pick up one small story, and we can go through that and we can practice. So while Kavina is reading her story in her speech, I request others to quickly do a search, find a small story. It could be as simple as a rabbit and the hare, but then keep it ready with you. Kavina, go.
Oh, Aniket,
Yeah,
can I do my own story?
yeah, yeah, sure. It's your content.
Okay.
You can do your story.
Yeah,
Yes.
thanks.
shall I?
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
They say it takes a village to raise a baby. Well, in my case, it took a village to get the baby out.
Wait.
My labor room like this.
In this case, as you started, you ended on a higher note for village and baby both,
Hmm.
right? But the important part in the second sentence was not baby.
Hmm.
Do you agree?
Uh,
So don't get the baby up. Take a different word up. They say it takes a village to is it the raise
race.
to keep raise higher? Village and raise are the higher words here, and try again.
They say it takes a village to uh, raise the baby, right? Raise will be high.
See, your it takes and village. There is no change in voice that I observed just now. It was in the same. You need to increase your voice. Village. Give it another shot.
They say it takes a village to raise a baby. Well, in my case, it took a village to get the baby out. Raise, what are the higher pitched ones? Raise and get the baby out.
In this case, out was your keyword, and that was kind of a secret. So you should add a
Hmm.
pause before out so that the word is emphasized. And you also keep doing baby higher. Baby should not go higher. Okay. Identify the keywords.
What has to go?
It takes a village to raise a baby, but in my case, it took a village to get the baby out.
Okay.
So maybe in
They
this case,
say,
yeah, go ahead.
they say it takes a village to raise a baby. Well, in my case, it took a village to get the baby out. That pause is not coming properly.
You need to practice. You need to practice. Okay, let's go to the next sentence. Because we would have limited time for all of you. Otherwise, it would take forever. So let's go for the next sentences. Yes.
Yes. They say it takes a village to raise a baby. But in my case, it took a village to get the baby out. My labor room looked like this. IV with fluids, contraction monitor stuck to my belly, nurses rushing in and out of the room doing blood samples, cervical examinations, doctor anxiously waiting to hold the baby. Amidst all of this, there was a person standing right next to me and kept telling me, "Come on, Kavina, you can do it." Perhaps a Toastmaster. Okay, not
I
okay.
think it was much better than what you did last time. Do you guys agree?
Yep.
Any recommendations for her?
I'll work on it, yeah.
Any recommendations for Kavina?
The same recommendation about the all of it part. The reason why I said about the emphasis on all was primarily because we are trying to say there is so much going on. So much, right? So the moment you extend that amidst all of this, right? Just a small extension of all really makes it feel as if there was so much going on.
Taken, thank you.
Cool. So who wants to go next? JP, do you have a story?
Yep. All right. How much time? Fine. Um, he collapsed right in the middle of a packed courtroom. He was one of the country's most distinguished trial lawyers. He was also a man who was as well known for the $3,000 Italian suits which draped his well-fed frame and for his remarkable string of legal victories. I stood there, paralyzed by the shock of what I had just witnessed. The great Julian Mantel had been reduced to a victim and was now squirming on the ground like a helpless infant, shaking and shivering and sweating like a maniac. Everything seemed to move in slow motion from that point on. "My God, Julian is in trouble!" his paralegal screamed, emotionally offering us a blinding glimpse of the obvious. The judge looked panic-stricken and quickly muttered something into the private phone as she had just installed in the event of an emergency. As for me, I could only stand there, dazed and confused. "Please don't die. You old fool, it's too early for you to check out. You don't deserve to die like this." Yep, that's it.
Superb.
Superb. Good job.
Seriously.
Yeah, really
Thank
well
you.
done. Really well done. I felt that you were able to identify the pauses very well this time. You are able to pause at the right things whenever you were going to speak as the character. You were able to let it out so that that emphasis came out. So that is another tip that I want to give. Whenever you want something to be emphasized, such as, let's say, any one word in the sentence which needs to be emphasized apart from everything else, give a pause before and after it. For example, the sentence is, "I went in to look at the jungle, but all I saw was a tree." Now, actually, no, because in this sentence, tree is the key word and it's coming in the end. So that would not be the right fit. Let's say, hmm, let's say the one that Kavina was just saying. My labor room looked like this. IV with fluids, contraction monitor stuck to my belly, nurses rushing in and out. In this case, I took a pause between before and after nurses to emphasize that word because I wanted to emphasize that word. So similarly, in your speeches as well, if there is one word out of the entire sentence that you really want to take out, give a pause before and after that word. So that one word, that whatever that one word be, it comes out. Maybe you are towards the end of your story and you want to showcase that your protagonist has actually made it out alive and you were shocked to see him out there. So that's where maybe you can give a pause before and after the name so that that extra space is given for the name to breathe. And remember, that would always be in our mind that that word or that one person in that sentence was very important. So excellent example, I would say, JP, and really well executed.
Hey, thanks.
And
Thanks a lot.
in terms of feedback for improvement, I would say whenever you were going fast, you were going fast for a long time of a sentence. So we were trying to keep up with what you are saying and how much you are saying. So remember, audience will not be able to take in so much. It's like gulping water. You need to give them time to drink, otherwise it's going to overflow. And also when it comes to storytelling, it is like painting a picture. When you're painting a picture, you need to let it dry. If you start painting on top of it again, it's going to get smudged. So you need to give it some time to breathe and then go into your next part. But overall, I believe that you have done really well. And as we keep doing this practice over and over again, I'm sure you will be able to improve. Let's go to
Acha,
Bhavna
thank you.
next.
Okay, yeah, I'll. My story title is Healthy Living. This story dates 20 years back. This is when I got married. I was going to live with my new family. I was scared, but they were more scared. Indian families have this strange ritual of judging women by her culinary skills, and I am not good at cooking at all. Only thing I can cook is brains, and bheja fry is my specialty. That day, I was required to cook something for them. And as you all know, I'm a good speaker. So I gave them a good 30-minute speech on benefits of raw salads and ended up serving cut onion and tomatoes. Next, I was supposed to cover my face in a veil and sit as a doll in the main hall. Guests were supposed to come and open the veil, see my face, and give me some gift. I told everyone that whoever does not give me cash will get to hear a 30-minute speech from me. Believe me, I collected 100% cash that day. Later in the evening, my mother-in-law came in and said, Beta, you are very talented. We all want you to go out and rock the world. But for heaven's sake, spare us. From that day till today, I'm serving spicy speeches to everyone outside, and I'm still serving healthy salads at home. Thank you so much.
Nice, very good speech.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Wow,
Super
nice,
awesomeness.
very nice speech. And also you had uh, like we had in that previous quote, if you want to do this, then do that. If you want to do this, then do that. So that repetitive terms were coming in, like you had doll and hall. So all of these were rhyming words. Now, and what you did really well was when you got into the characters of your story, you were able to get into those characters very well, and we could make out that it is your character speaking. And your speech was also in sync with the emotions of the character.
Thank you so much.
Yes, one probably where you can improve is where the tempo of your speaking is going. I believe that
Mm-hmm.
you're putting 2 to 3 thoughts together in the same sentence. For example, you said, I was scared, but they were scared. They were even more scared. But actually, there are two
Yeah.
different thoughts, because I was scared, but they were even more scared. So that pause actually adds emphasis on the second part, with which you're trying to have a humor.
So how should I frame it?
So the sentence was, I was scared, but they were even more scared, right?
Yeah.
So I was scared is the first part, is the first thought. Give a pause after that, and then after the, let's say give a let's say give a one beat pause. Let's say 1000. If you say that word 1000, that's one beat. So give that one beat pause and then go to the next sentence. Give it a try again, just that one sentence.
I was scared, but they were more scared.
Hmm.
Is this better?
No, because you emphasized on the word they, whereas the emphasis should have been on more scared, right?
Okay.
I was scared, but they were even more scared.
Okay.
That brings us to the first point that we had discussed. In a sentence, which sentence is more important? That's that word. Sorry, in sentence, which word is more important? That word needs to go up to make sure that we emphasize on that word. And also,
Okay.
the part where you have the rhyming words, I believe that's where you can have both those words go high, like the sentences with the doll and hall. If you can do the
Yeah.
same sentences with doll going higher and hall going higher, can you try again?
Mm-hmm. Next, I was supposed to cover my face in a
Okay,
veil and sit.
wait.
Hmm.
After next, give a pause and then try again. Sorry.
Okay. Next, I was supposed to cover my face in a veil and sit as a doll in the main hall.
Hmm. Actually, yeah, that sounded better. And but still, I think
Hello. Okay.
the
I thought
sentences
I
were
lost you
still
guys. There was silence.
no,
Yeah.
no.
Sit
But
as a doll in the main hall.
yeah,
No. That's better?
actually, no. As I said, the volume is also about going down. How about we try the same sentence with both the words going down?
Yeah. I'll go again.
Huh. Make
Next.
supposed make the word supposed go high and the doll go low.
Okay. Next, I was supposed to cover my face in a veil and sit as a doll in the main hall.
No, I don't think the words went down. They were in the same volume. Maybe you need to
Yeah.
practice that. You need to practice going down,
Yes, I need to.
because going higher is easy. Going lower really takes practice. Really good
So
excerpt.
would you tell me?
Yeah, sure,
Would
good.
you tell me?
How?
No,
Okay,
would
sure.
you tell me how to frame that sentence?
Sure. Next, I was supposed to cover my face with a towel and sit like a doll in the hall. So you're trying to
Okay.
sweeten up the words doll and hall and trying to make it a bit more rhyming.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Um, so that was a really good one, Bhavna. Who wants to go next? Oh my
Thank
God,
you.
it's already 10:05. Damn. Okay, let's try to finish it in the next 10 minutes at least. Time flies during these discussions. Sumit, do you want to go next? I want to hear the basketball story with this modulation.
Difficult, Aniket.
Oh, it's difficult. Okay, I understand. You had mentioned that. And I believe Ashirwad as well had mentioned the same thing, that it was going to be difficult for him.
Yes, Aniket.
Ashirwad, okay. Do you have a story with you that you can try?
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
I'm just a beginner on this, so please bear with me. Yeah, uh, the story is about a wise man. The wise man. People have been coming. Sorry, let me start one more time. People have been coming to this wise man, complaining about the same problem every time. One day, he told a joke, and everyone roared in laughter. After a couple of minutes, he told the same joke, and only a few of them smiled. When he told the same joke for the third time, no one laughed anymore. That's all.
Okay, thank you. I think you did pretty well, and in terms of the pauses, I feel that initially, uh, when identifying the keywords, you were fumbling, and one single word you broke, where the first half was low and the second half went up. But apart from that, in the second half, I think you picked up pretty well, which means we need more practice of reading with with the three knobs that we discussed today: the volume,
Okay.
pitch, and the
Hmm.
pace. So with these three knobs, if you
Okay.
practice, probably try
Hmm.
reading a newspaper, probably try
Yeah.
reading simpler stories, and practice on identifying which words should go higher and which words should go lower. I think that will be really
Okay.
helpful for you. What do others
Okay.
think about this speech? Kavina?
Um, you mean Ashirbat speech?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry, I was not.
Oh, okay. What about you, JP
I
and
think
Bhavna?
the emphasis could have been on first, second, third. The three words could have been emphasized and the voice slightly raised. Like on the
Yeah,
first time, many people laughed. On the second time, few, and then whatever. And on the third time, nobody laughed.
yep, yep. I agree.
Yeah. Got it, JP.
Again, identifying the keywords and the theme,
It. Huh. Yeah.
as we had seen in the quote earlier. So, where
Hmm.
the same thing was repeating. In this case,
Hmm.
the first time, second time, and the third time. So, it was repeating.
Third time. Hmm.
So, try and find the repeating sentences or the theme overall in that entire passage. Bhavna, what do you think?
Yeah, even I felt there was a bit of monotone because in order to engage audience, you have to raise the voice to a level where people can catch attention, which was missing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, probably, Ashirbad, you need to practice a bit more. But I'm
Yes.
sure after today's session and after giving a bit more practice, it will be
Hmm.
better. Now, all of you must have heard about the Super 30 um, initiative that we launched today. Have you taken a look at that?
Oh yes, registered.
Awesome, awesome. What about you, Bhavna? Have you looked at that?
Yeah, I was looking into that.